Hi everybody, Shirley Joy Joffe here. And today, if you are tuning in, it's because maybe you have been finding yourself feeling irritated, feeling annoyance. Maybe you just feel downright angry, feel enraged. All of these feelings are normal, acceptable. And I do have a ritual that I suggest to clients that can actually help you release that, because yes, it's acceptable. Yes, we need to feel our feelings. However, trapping that energy in the body when it's very, very explosive can also be very damaging. So I'm going to talk through the ritual. Before that, let me just do a little caveat, which is you may find that when you do this, you actually don't need to do the rest of the ritual, but this ritual actually touches on much deeper levels, and not just anger and rage. It also goes into, or can go into, resentments, go into revenge fantasy, all of that kind of thing that's very, very destructive, or can be very destructive when held in the body as an energy. So the first thing which I have recently learned, actually, that's really, really powerful, because being a master healer for so long, one of the things that is very, very much at the forefront is, or has been in the past, releasing energies that are not serving. And sometimes that can actually bypass the processing that needs to happen through the body tissues, through the cellular memory, so that the body doesn't actually keep hold of them as part of its makeup. It can get stuck in different organs of the body. Anger, particularly, can get stuck in the liver area, in that part of you. Hatred often can lead to certain diseases. Every organ has an emotion associated with it, and often diseases have emotional patterns associated with them. So that being aside, one thing which I found very, very powerful is to actually be able to, once you've released big portions of what's going on, is to then take a practice, or have a practice of really feeling and being in acceptance of the emotions that are flowing through you. So if you are feeling scared, feel scared, stay with it. And when you also express that through the voice, so I am feeling scared, often the feeling will process itself through without you actually having to go through anything else. Same thing with anger. If you express out loud, I feel angry, or I feel anger, or I feel emotions of, however you wish to express yourself, it often allows that energy to work through. So that's just an initial caveat to pre-ritual that I work with my clients with a lot on, is how to actually be accepting and be in grace of what's going on for you. And then sometimes it's useful to have some techniques, have some rituals, have some processes that will help the clearing along. So this came up recently with a client who's got a very, very difficult family situation going on. There is grief, there is bereavement, there is family dynamics, there is betrayal, all of these things all going on all at once at a very, very, very delicate time for them. And they asked me, is there something I could do? And as I always like to empower others, I went through this ritual with her. I gave her this ritual to do, and following next day, I asked her how she's doing with it, and she said, I feel so relieved. It's like a pressure cooker has literally been lifted. Where before, when we had been in session, I'd been giving her movement, I'd been giving her clearing, I'd been giving her like physical expression just to get it out of the body, but it still wasn't working because it was still going, and the pressure cooker just kept building up because there was no control for her. And that's the other thing to understand, is sometimes we can get very angry when there's when we haven't got control. And as we all know, or as you may have heard, or maybe you don't know, you only have control over your inside, the things that are within you. You have no control over the outside at all. At all. None. Anything at any point can disappear. So, I mean, even you can boil it down to you don't have control over necessarily the air that you breathe. If a fire breaks out, you've got smoke, you have control over your internal environment, and that's the main thing to look at. So when that happens and there is stuff coming at you from the external, then you can start to look at energy clearing and movement through the body. And this particular ritual, which I learned years ago, I didn't make it up, I've learned it and added to it, I've found to be really, really, really potent. It's a few components altogether. So step one are the things that you will need to perform this ritual. Now, you can be quite superstitious about it, or energetically aware, and this process is fantastic to do during a full moon energy. And those of you who do follow lunar cycles, the full moon is often a time of release, a culmination. So if you've made intentions in manifestations in a new moon phase or intentions, the full moon is when usually they start to materialize, baggage is released, depending on also the aspects of the planets and the signs, how the energy comes through. So a full moon is a good time for this ritual, and the energies around the full moon are not just on the same night. They build up to the night and then they last for a couple of nights after, as the moon wanes back to the crescents. So you've got a few days, and I'm recording this now because we're still within the tail end of the last full moon energy. So if any of you want to try this ritual, it's a really good time to do it. So you need some paper, you need some space, and that is time where you will not be disturbed, where people are not going to be looking over your shoulder. This isn't something to do in the corner of a room at a desk where you've got people around. You want space, you want alone time, because what you're going to be bringing out may bring up feelings of shame, may bring up feelings of hurt, may bring up all sorts of emotions, and you need space for those to be expressed. Now, if you know that you have a lot of pent-up stuff and you're finding that the layers are proving to be difficult to manage, make sure you've got somebody on standby to support you, because this is a very deep process. It's not just a magic wand fix it type thing. It is very magical, and it's a very, very deep process. So make sure you've got someone to support you. You'll need a lighter because you're going to be burning things, and and that's pretty much it, and a topic or something to release. Okay, so you set yourself up, give yourself space, give yourself time. I wouldn't do this very late at night. Maybe in the early evening is probably time-wise the best thing. And I find sort of evening dusk time to be a good time for this. And what you're going to do is you're going to take scrap paper. I just use an A4 pad, scrap paper, enough that you've got lots and lots and lots to write, that you've got space for lots if you need to write it, and give yourself time. And what you're going to do is you're going to start, it's like a journaling, like a unconscious writing, conscious unconscious writing. You're going to start by writing out all the things that you have anger about, you have rage about, the people, all of the things that come to your conscious mind. And you're going to start by writing all of those. And then you're going to find maybe about 10 or 12 that you've run out. That's where you just keep writing and keep rereading what you've got, because more will come up. So you may want to do this exercise directed at a person. If you're irritated at a person, you may do it for a situation. You may want to, you know, do as much as you can and write so that you get a lot of life stuff out, and just keep writing. Now you're going to find natural pauses along the way. And when you've got those natural pauses where you've written, maybe you've written like 2-3 pages of A4 and you think, oh, I'm spent, that's it. What happens at that point is your mind is going to start distracting you. Your mind is going to try and get you out of this space, because you are reaching a threshold. And what you're going to do is you're going to go lower. And you're going to keep writing and keep writing. You'll find all sorts of things are coming up. You may have resentments towards somebody. You may find feelings of, I want to get revenge and I'm really angry, or irritation or annoyance. Because anger and rage actually are the very top level emotions in this space, because they're the ones that keep you in a motivated state. They keep you in a distracted space so that you don't look further. Now, when you start writing about things like hurt, shame, resentments, again, you're going to find a natural pause. Again, that's your mind distracting you from that layer. Keep going, keep writing, keep writing, keep writing. Now, when do you stop? And this is what my client asks. When do I stop writing? You stop writing when you have done 2 or 3 rounds of scribbles that start going into childhood. Because we're going down into the 0 to 7 years of core memories. You'll start to maybe get flashbacks. Things may start coming up of deeper things to do with yourself. Even, and this is another thing, you may start to get quite esoterical and start to get into anger of the world and anger of society. And again, this is a distraction. We're going within you. This is not a time for releasing the world's problems, although it will all be released. You are going to be going down further and further and further until you're getting to the real visceral things where words that you write on the paper may not be 8, they won't be legible, because by then you maybe have written 4, 5, 6, 7 pages, who knows? Or you'll start writing single words, like fragmented words. The sentences stop making sense. And this is where you're starting to tap into more of the guttural, visceral roots. So once you've got to that point and you literally would feel almost drained out and wrung out, again, take a breath, a pause there, have a little quick reread, and if anything more comes in. It's when you are doing the pause and the reread and nothing comes in, give yourself some time. Give yourself some time. Allow your unconscious mind to start to communicate with you more and more. And then you stop. So once you have written all of that, what do you do with it? So my way of doing this is I go outside in the full moon, and I set it alight. So I burn it. And then I do a declaration. This is very powerful. And you can do it as you wish. You can make that declaration, start tuning into yourself as to what you want to say. The main part of this, though, is I declare and decree that all of this is now resolved, released, and removed from all of my being, all of the energetic spaces. And I add in things across time, across space, across dimensions, across past lives, across parallel lives. And so it is. So I will add that, and I will say this 3 times. I declare and decree that all of this is released. And you can specify anger, hurt, shame, if you have identified feelings. Released from my body, from my physical body, from my emotional bodies, from my subtle bodies, across time and space, dimensions, aspects, past lives, identities, personalities, just the things that come up for you. So 3 times. Now then, at that point, what I would do is I will get up. So it's burnt. So this thing is burning. And I repeat this until the thing's burnt into ash. You can either dig it into the earth. So then you're returning all that energy to the earth. Or you can scatter it outside of your home's boundaries. This is really do what feels right for you. The burning is important, though. It's a symbolic thing. And the declare and decree is very important. But what will you do with it afterwards, as long as it is not... So you're not going to collect these ashes and keep them. No, you want it out. And then what you want to do is you want to actually shake out the energy from the body. So I use something that I learned from a couple of mentors of mine, which is just shaking and gibberish. Those of you who may have done any kind of body energetic release, this will be familiar. So I'll stand up, I'll start shaking every part of my body, and I'll actually release gibberish from my mouth. And I will literally move, shake, and release gibberish until I feel that all of that is completely gone. All of that energy is dissipated. To maybe take about 4-5 minutes, as long as you want, actually. And then lastly, we want to bring in or call in positive energy. So I declare and decree that all the amazing, wonderful emotions are present in my life now. I declare and decree that I am able, capable, and available to assimilate all the emotions with ease, with grace through my body, without holding, without tying myself to them, something like that. So you want to bring in the stuff that makes you feel good. And again, and so it is. What you're doing is you're calling on the positive energies. You are giving your body and your energy an instruction as well when you are saying how you're going to assimilate that information through you coming forwards. And at this point, you can then start to state your intentions moving forwards, any manifestations. I declare and decree that the people that are divinely aligned and good for me and healthy for me in this life are called to me now. Thank you. And so it is, and so it is, and so it is. So that is my little anger and release ritual. Anger and rage release. And I hope that that is useful for you. I would love to know where if you do this, please do write a message. Let me know how it was for you, because I've done it with several clients, or I've instructed several clients to do it, and what they feel afterwards is really, really interesting. Sometimes there's more work to be done around that. It may uncover things that you may need to work through. So, you may have your own self way of doing it. You can start working on it with things like EFT. You can work on it through theta healing. You can work on it through hypnosis. There's talk therapy. The follow-up afterwards is actually completely up to you. But this really will start to bring things up. Do not underestimate it. It brings up loads. Okay, hope you enjoyed that. Hope that was informative. And yeah, I'm looking forward to hearing your stories. Thanks a lot.